Let's do it.
Okay.
We're gonna look back at this day.
I would wait till 10, but
No, go for it, because then we usually transition at 10.
we transition at 10. Apparently.
In the past, we
Is
have.
the sound down? All right, then transition whenever you want. Go live whenever you want. But this
And
time it works.
there we
right now.
go. You
You're gonna have paper
you
this
got
time?
the content? Are you going to read?
I'm going to read in a very robotic way.
This week's guest, Eggnog.
Yeah.
All right, sound up.
Yeah, this is actually pretty relevant.
All right.
Howdy, everyone. Welcome to episode 21 of the Gateway Open Office Hours. I'm your host, Carter Laren, co-host Ben Larson.
Hey, everybody.
And we have a surprise guest today.
What up? Pranav Sood.
So, Gateway Open Office Hours, each week we answer questions. You can tweet at us using the hashtag GatewayOH. I think that's correct, on Twitter, or you can ask us questions on Facebook. We try and cover any questions that early stage founders might have, just have general discussions to support them. So every week at 10 a.m., here we are. So today, we're going to talk about two things. One, we're going to talk about what to focus on at the end of the year if you're a founder.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing is we're going to talk a little bit about soul searching, which sounds a little bit woo-woo, but we'll get into
Soul
that a little
searching?
bit. Yes.
How did that get snuck in there?
Don't worry, I snuck it in there.
Okay.
Wait, but I need a sip of my eggnog before we continue.
Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
Happy holidays,
Ben
everyone.
spiked the eggnog, everyone. All right, so really quickly, actually, before we talk about those things, there's a little bit of news this week. One of them is news from Ease, right? Keith McCarty is gone.
Step down, I think.
Stepped down is the term. I don't know what that really means, but interesting. Ease has raised like $24 million in the past few years, and even recently, what they raised recently, 15 million recently, something like that.
I think
So
he's still on the board.
they're 13 million, yeah. But
Yeah. Any word as far as what the motivation was?
no, I'm just bringing it up. Saying it
Keith,
happened.
holler
I
at
have
your
no
boy.
idea what's going on. Yeah, no idea what's going on there.
Yeah, it's interesting. They've kind of hit this inflection point where, they either take the model that they've established and just grow it and become the one delivery source that people go to,
Yeah.
or they pivot, right? Like
Well, they have a lot of money and they have a lot of really good engineers. So, those are some good ingredients.
Sure.
Uh,
Who are
know
the
what you can make.
investors in Ease?
I mean, in the last round, even Winklevoss Capital was involved. Like a lot of people,
Winklevi.
DCM,
All
I
right.
think Slow was in, Fresh was in. A lot of people were in.
All right.
And then
Godspeed,
some not normal candidates people this last round, like Winklevoss and someone else. Pranav, do you remember who else was in?
Those are the big guys.
Okay, so anyway, just weird news. The other thing that we too bad to talk about on the holidays, but we kind of wanted to remind founders. We were actually with Pranav the other night, and it was a reminder that we're not in a normal industry.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That was.
We wanted to do
wonderful.
this public service announcement.
I don't
for
think I've
people.
told my wife this, so this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, it's a good PSA to do. We won't name names and who it was, and it wasn't anyone in our cohort, but it was a friend of Gateway's who got robbed at gunpoint. Took probably about $20K worth of product.
Mm-hmm.
And so the question is like, how did the person know that they had product? They may have been followed. They have just were at a facility earlier in the day. It might have been that someone was talking about it on the street because there was a conversation happening. So it's not clear what the issue is, but or what the reason was, like how they knew. But it is a reminder that we're not selling. We're not just. It's not just making apps. You're in an industry where if you do touch the plant, as normalized as we like to make it feel, there still is some risk. Thankfully, no one was hurt or anything. But
Even further to that, I think it's like it's a double-edged sword because as we're getting closer to legalization and commercializing this industry, it is driving out the black market, and there's things that are going to happen. I think we're at that inflection point, so it's going to be interesting to see how that all shapes up with the green market and the black market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt the show's flow, but Michael, he might be on mute because he came in at the last second. Is he fixed? We got him up. I want to make sure people can hear Pranav. Talk, Pranav.
Hey, I'm Pranav.
All right, there we go. So people might have missed that, but basically,
Yeah, basically, like I'm saying, the industry, as it becomes more regulated, more legalized, it's driving out the black market. And so, incidents like this will continue to occur. And it's just going to be interesting to see how it all shapes up. But we need to be more vigilant and, be really careful around these times.
Yeah. What I think I would say is, like, if you're touching the plant and you have product on hand, come up with just very strict kind of like orders of operation and
SOPs, if you will.
SOPs. There you
yeah,
go.
there's actually a really good book that I would recommend from my previous life called The Gift of Fear. It's by a guy named Gavin DeBecker who made built his business, I guess, off of protecting celebrities from stalkers and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a really good book that talks about the mindset and kind of how to pay attention and what to, like, if you feel like someone's following you, what to do about it. Like, it's it's sad that you kind of have to be in that mindset, but you do. So be in that mindset. And Gift of Fear is just a good book reminding you,
Yeah.
or at least
Wow.
teaching a little bit about it. So
Way to be a downer.
yeah. On that note, yes. On that note,
Merry Christmas.
let's get back to our agenda. So I said we're going to talk about what to focus on at the end of the year. So we have a lot of founders ask this question. They say, like, VCs or angels aren't around in December, which is true for the most part, although there's a caveat that we should talk about with Pranav, which is true for the most part. So what should I be doing with my business?
Sure.
So let's first talk about the caveat, because Pranav brought it up before the show, and it's a really important point.
Yeah.
Because we kind of nodded our head and said, yeah, for the most part, that's true. Investors aren't around, so what are some other things you should be doing? Because it's not a great time to be fundraising. However, Pranav, tell us what you are experiencing.
I mean, so what I'm experiencing, like, it's busier for me during these, like, Christmas days than it was,
For fundraising specifically.
For fundraising specifically, compared to early, and actually even for sales and everything, like, this year specifically, it feels like a lot of people are just like ramping up for 2017 with the new regs coming in place. Like, there's a lot of people that are just like trying to get things in place. So I think that's motivated people to continue working. I also think, Christmas falls on a weekend this year. So that opens up a few more like weekdays to work, and people are just pushing it forward. But yeah, it's been really busy for us, even on the capital raise side.
Good. Well, I mean, I think you might be experiencing two things. One is this year being special, which I think we all kind of know. Look, the election happened in November. People were probably waiting on the sidelines. As soon as that happened and they saw that states were going legal, they wanted to hurry and get involved. The other thing that does happen is there are some investors, I know a few investors actually, who like to capitalize on the holidays as an investor, because there's no other, like everyone else is in Vail or whatever, they're skiing, or they're not responding to founders. So if you're the one investor who is around, you can get deals.
Yeah.
And so the advice that I would maybe give to founders, and get your guys' opinion about it, but my advice on fundraising in December would be, don't expect people to be around, but don't be the reason that it's not happening.
Sure.
Make sure you're available. You can be fundraising. You can be texting on Christmas if necessary.
Yeah.
And let it be up to the investors that you're talking to, because you might have a couple investors like Pranav does who are totally around and want to do a deal.
And there's a lot of Jewish investors, so.
True, but there's also Hanukkah. I mean, and they also go to Vail. I mean,
No, it's
I mean, I celebrate the flying spaghetti monsters noodly appendages
Yeah.
over. Maybe that sounds bad.
But
but
the festive.
but
is
people
full.
still, people still, even if they're not Christian, they still.
Sure.
celebrate.
Well, and just something that's super unique about this year is that, like, both holidays are falling on the weekends.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's not unique to this year, but probably every 5 years.
It's not
Is
how
it
math
more
works,
often?
but that's okay.
Less often.
It would be every 7 years except for leap year, and so leap year.
But you
fucks
have
it up.
Saturdays and Sundays to consider.
Oh, just the weekends. Yeah, fair enough. I don't know what that math
Anyhow,
turns out to be.
I've been more encouraged to be working the 2 weeks in between. So
Yeah.
And I think for me specifically, we opened our round on demo day, which was like September, whatever time it was, and our what we've communicated was that we're closing this round either end of the year or early next year. And so throughout the whole process, we've been setting that stage. So, just setting expectations and giving them the awareness of what your timelines are, that helped us kind of rally the troops as well.
Yeah, that's good. And stick to them. Setting false timelines backfires, but if you're in a position where you can set a real timeline, and so
But
you didn't,
yeah. So we've talked about the caveat though, but the
Yeah,
important
let's
part
talk
is
about the-
things do slow down. Like
Right.
people do respond less. There's a
Right.
lot less people that are emailing you.
So what are some things you can do, Ben?
Well, one's get caught up on email if you're me. Kind of, actually. That's not been too successful. But yeah, man, holiday hustle. Like get shit done. Get ready to hit 2017, running and have all your ducks in a row just so you can like really kill it in January. I
Right.
mean, really you have until about like second, maybe even third week of January before things get firing on all cylinders. So why not just be cranking on your product, coding, getting your emails done, whatever it is that you need to do that you've been putting off because all the fall time you've been just like cranking on communications.
Right. It's a great time to get that traction that the investors want. Like find that one thing that's kind of lacking and just be working on it. If people aren't meeting with you, then get your product done. It is a good time also to, if you're around family and friends, great opportunity to just like practice pitching, practice telling your story, tell, drunk Uncle Joe at the table, like.
Well, you don't really have a
what you're
choice
doing,
because
whatever.
when you're a founder, everyone asks you, how are things going?
Yeah.
It's like, game time.
Yep.
Got to make them feel good.
We pull out the pitch, so Trellis.
Yeah.
No, but it is a good time to practice, right? And, often your family is shitty for giving you decent feedback because they love you, which is a problem.
But some families are very judgy.
Right. So if you have the right kind of family, it's a great opportunity. Like you'll never get your pitch.
Like, when are you going to get a real job? Are you done
Exactly.
being unemployed?
Yeah, no, like pitching my mom would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Because she would have been like, it didn't matter. But Mom, we're Uber now. We're worth $80 billion. I still think it'll fail. I'm like, okay. Thank you.
What's your pension look like?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, if you have the right family, you can practice pitching. Another thing is it's a good time to develop collateral. I have homework to do. I'm trying to get out before the 25th, which
That's what we're going to talk about after this.
yeah,
When we
I'm
go.
not sure I've done yet, but
We have a lot of collateral.
I want to give our founders some homework over the holidays, and one of those things is collateral. So that when we're saying collateral for pitching, for fundraising, it's things like a one sheet that you can email, a short paragraph you can email, or maybe more appropriately like an intro email that you can send people that they can forward. Your deck, a couple different versions of your deck, maybe an FAQ for questions that people ask. Not necessarily to share the FAQ directly, but to have those answers in mind. Maybe prepare some slides in your appendix for some of those questions. So all that stuff is it's the kind of, I view preparing collateral as this kind of time-consuming but often not super mentally draining thing. So you can kind of do it while you're hanging out with your family and working on your laptop and sitting
Or drinking eggnog.
or drinking eggnog that your co-founder spiked. So yeah, I mean that's one thing you can do. Another thing is, especially at the end of the year, a lot of publications are looking for the kind of predictions for next year or best of 2016 or blah blah blah. So if you're, which you should be writing,
on the PR
right?
circuit, yeah.
If you're doing anything where you're trying to, get your company out in front of people, now's a good time. Probably maybe it would have been better to submit articles a little bit before now, but scramble, get it done now. I mean, there's some time between now and the end of the year still where stuff can get published, and you've got a lot of people, even if they're not working, sitting around reading publications and hanging out. So it's a good time to get those kind of stories out. Anything else? I mean, what else can you think of that's a good end of the year thing?
I was thinking it's actually, while investors might not be responding, you can actually get some good customer development done. You're around a lot of people that might be your target customers. Get the feedback, tune up your website, like whatever it is. I actually sent an email to one of your cohort fellows last night, and I was like,
It was very polite.
it was very polite and long. and
I think the subject was unsolicited feedback.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. And that's what I have time to do in my holidays is give unsolicited feedback. But yeah, it's just like, get your shit together. You hit 2017 again with just like everything you got. And so when you are back out there talking to investors, that everything is just tight and looking good.
Yeah. But one thing not to do is to take downtime and not do any work.
Yeah.
Because you're not.
We are here today.
You're not working for the man anymore. Yes, we are
I'll
here
probably
today.
be in on Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
that's the way Pranav rolls.
That's how I work. But what we do is like you've got your entire.
That's because you're
business.
Canadian. Canadians
still
celebrate on
celebrate
a different day, right?
No. That's Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Is that Boxing Day?
And Ben
Yeah,
demonstrating
Boxing
his worldly knowledge.
But especially for like tech software companies, it's like a really good time every Christmas because our development team can really go heads down. So we did a bit of a different approach. Up until like mid-December, we really pushed on customer feedback, customer development, and got everything that like we needed to work on. And then now we can go heads down for 2 to 3 weeks, get it done. Same thing with capital raise, like really set it up. And then I've already got meetings set up for first week of January. So a lot of people are like, even if they're off, they're usually responsive and like, let's put something on the calendar for first week. So yeah, just keep it rolling.
Clara never sleeps. That's the nice thing.
That's also great. Yeah, Clara never sleeps.
Is that Dora or Clara?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dora. Calendaring assistants, check it out.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
All right, well, cool. So I think we nailed that one.
Yeah.
At least we beat it to death.
That was great.
So
Get your ass to work. If you're sitting, if you're sitting on the couch high watching us, you're fucking up.
Unless you're working on your deck. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Creativity is good.
Yeah, I mean, you can take moments to relax.
Tomorrow.
But that shouldn't be your whole existence.
You can relax tomorrow.
Yeah. You can relax on your private jet. So, okay. Soul searching doesn't sound as bad as I think you thought it would be.
It sounds pretty bad.
Yeah. The reason I thought about it is like the holidays are often a time, you're sitting around, maybe you are high, maybe you're drinking some spiked eggnog or whatever. It's a good time to be thinking about your why. And we've talked about your why before. Your why is like, why are you doing this business other than making money, right? And I think too often when you get caught up in the startup world, there's an assumption that you should be doing a startup. And if someone comes to you with an idea, so this is I moved from the East Coast, and one of the things I liked about California, specifically the Bay Area over the East Coast, was on the East Coast, if you had you could have the most brilliant idea. You could be like, I invented a transporter device. And the response generally from among your peers would be like, I don't know, it's kind of risky to go out on your own and start a business. Like, are people really going to want a transporter device? It's like, it doesn't matter what
are your profit margins?
Right, yeah.
What's your 5-year projections?
Yeah.
Break-even point.
But in the Bay Area, right, you're like, I developed an app that predicts what kind of cheese your dog will like to eat. It's like, great, go quit your job. It's like, it's like horrible ideas get like lots of support. So
yeah, they do.
It's important to remember that you don't have to be an entrepreneur, and if you have the wrong why, you're just going to cause yourself a lot of pain. So really, I think really taking the time over the holidays to reassess, like, okay, why am I doing this? What are my metrics for success? How do I know when I've achieved success? And is that a monetary thing, or is it a non-monetary thing?
Right.
And we've talked about this before, but maybe you can kind of share your thoughts about, like, why do investors care about why?
Well, as we all know, starting something is difficult. There are downtimes. There are times when your ass is on the line. There's times when your entire team's ass is on the line. There are times when you're staring at Friday and you're not sure if you're going to be able to pay everyone. And investors want to know, like, what's going to carry you through? What's going to make you dig deep and make you win and succeed? And, no matter where you're at or what your idea is or who you are, you're going to go through those times. Like, they're inevitable. And if you don't have that why, you don't know why you're doing this, and you don't have something to pull you through the dark, you might as well just like recalibrate now.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I'll add one more thing, because I've kind of struggled with this myself in terms of like getting in. When I started the business, the why was very clear, but over time it can actually dilute a little bit, like especially as you start spreading yourself thin and start focusing on capital raise and like very specific things, and like you separate yourself a little bit from the business and start to lose sight of it. And so again, on the holiday season, it's probably a good time to kind of reflect and get that back, you know.
So and you're making me think of a specific challenge also, which is a lot of people say the why is very, which we just did, which is correct. The why is very important to kind of keep you going when things are really bad, and you know, investors want to see you've got that fortitude to keep going. There's a flip side though, which is when you're offered a little bit of money at an exit, right? If you don't have the right why, you're like, for most people, right? Yeah. A few $1,000,000 is a big fucking deal, right? Especially if you're a first-time founder, and it's like.
Would you like a few $1,000,000 right now?
It would be nice, but it would be.
But you have a why, right? No, and you know, so that's the other risk though for investors, right? Is they don't want you to jump at your first offer, right? Like, okay, you put money in at a $10 million valuation, and the guy sells at $20 million valuation. It's like, that's not really what I was going for with my capital, right? We wanted him to stick it out and see if he could get 100, 200, you know, $1 billion. Like those are the goals. And so, the early exit actually is an issue if you have a bad why.
I'm kind of curious from like an investor perspective. Like the more you dilute a founder, right? The less like incentive over time they have. So is that a balance that like investors like focus on? You know what I mean?
So that's a great question.
Depends on the investor.
Yeah, and it's a particular problem in the cannabis industry because so normally that's why you have a rule of thumb of like you get like 20-25% max dilution for each round, and it's kind of a traditional thing. It's precisely to prevent that, Pranav. It's where it's like, okay, the founder still has enough skin in the game. Okay, the founder still has enough skin in the game. At some point, Series D, you might not care if the founder has enough skin in the game because he's not the right person to continue leading the company.
Right.
And if he is, then you don't need him to have skin in the game because he's there for some other reason and he really wants to lead the company. He's doing a great job, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons there's that problem. And one thing you've seen, or there's that, rule of thumb, but one thing you've seen in cannabis is you sometimes see predatory lenders or predatory investors who come in and say, you know, I'll give you $200K for 50% or something like that. And what those predatory investors don't realize is they're actually sealing your fate because follow-on will look at that cap table and say, Pranav's not going to have enough incentive to keep going, right? So yeah, and that is an issue.
So this industry is kind of interesting because like your why is even a little bit more important because people judge you on what your why is.
Yeah,
and
that's also true.
In different audiences, right? Like if you're talking to a bunch of growers and you have a particular why, they're definitely going to judge you. And then if you have a conservative family, but maybe they're open to the concept of medical marijuana, they're going to judge you, right? So it's like what your true why, maybe you have multiple whys, you know.
I was just my why for my clients is a different why than my investors.
But they're both, I mean, true.
They're related, but it's like, it's positioning, it's messaging. But
right. But what I'm talking about, so I want to be clear, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And your personal why needs to be really strong. How you message it to different people, that can change. Yeah. But, you know, circling back to the...
Yeah. It's funny. It's actually, I don't know if this is too much of a personal anecdote, but sausage being made. I thought about it the other day when I was telling you, I'm like, this is like super important. We need to get this fundraising, this fundraising materials done. Like it's more important than anything.
Right.
And you turn to me and you're like, is it? Because helping these founders is what's most important. And I was like, holy shit, really close to home. I'm like, you're right.
Wow, I was a good guy.
Yeah, you were.
I'm as shocked as you. What?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Pranav is shocked. Thank you for being as shocked as I am. Makes me feel like my self-image is accurate.
You did a good job.
Yeah, but I mean, that why is very important. So I would say, I mean, one thing you could do during the holidays, you could write down your why just for you. I mean, it doesn't have to be shared with anyone, and be very clear about it. And then one of the reasons that you write things down is because, and I know people who are maybe language deconstructionists don't like this, but grammar has a purpose, and that purpose is clarity. And if you are forced to write something down and make it very clear, it crystallizes the idea in your mind, right? And so just kind of vaguely saying, yeah, I know my why, but not being able to write it down is a problem. And it's also a good, if you've done, I don't think we've had a whole brand foundation broadcast before.
No, but we probably should.
We could. But if you're doing a brand foundation, one of the first things at least for our brand foundation template is your purpose, which is basically the purpose of your company, very related to the why of the founder. It's a good time to be working on that as well. Again, just for internal consumption. And it's something that can be inspiring to people beyond Pranav wants a private jet, right? Which is inspiring to Pranav, but not to any of his employees.
I'm actually going to bring up my brand foundation doc. I'm kind of curious what it was.
You should be very aware of it.
I mean, first version.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. I don't know. Anything else on whys? Are we good? Any other comments on end of the year whys? Any other end of the year comments?
Keep hustling.
Keep hustling.
2017 is going to be a huge year.
Yeah.
So I think the one thing that people don't realize is all these regs are being enforced in 2018. And so 2017 is a year for everyone to ramp up, get set. If you want to get in now. 2017 is going to be an amazing year. And I think, Q1 is going to set the stage and it's going to be really fun.
I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
The excitement has been huge for the industry since Election Day, regardless of what's happening with the administration. So I'm excited for 2017. Our current cohort's really kicking ass. And we're already, starting to strategize with the third and fourth cohort. So
yeah. It's I think our first year went better than we thought it could have gone. So.
Yeah. So with that.
Yeah, so with that, that's all for this week. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching Gateway Open Office Hours. We film from Gateway Works, the best co-working facility on the planet.
Exclusively for cannabis entrepreneurs.
Yeah, you don't have to, you don't have to be a startup, but you do have to be doing something associated with cannabis or helping cannabis companies.
We've had lawyers, distributors from Humboldt County, graphic designers, marketers. SSDP works out of here. Our former cohort companies. It's just awesome community.
And let's see, I have to read this part. Gateway OH. So if you go to gatewayworks.com and use the discount code Gateway OH, you get $150 off the first month. So
$150.
Yes, you approved that number. So anyway, or you can, as always, every week, 10 a.m. oh.gtwy.co. will redirect you to this live broadcast every Friday at 10 a.m. And we will be here next Friday too, I assume, right?
And
I'm
doing
here.
a Happy New Year's episode. Holiday Hustle Part 2.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah. Happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays.
Peace.